If you are over 60, then listen very carefully, because the next 60 seconds may be the most important warning you hear this entire year, as millions of retirees are quietly walking toward a financial cliff without even realizing it. And the truth is that your retirement may not be as safe as you think, because the cracks forming in today's economy are not appearing on news channels. They are happening behind closed doors, in data rooms, in stress tests, and in liquidity reports that never reach the public eye. And if you ignore these cracks, then the savings you built over a lifetime, your comfort, your stability, and your financial peace can disappear far faster than you imagine. And this is not fear-mongering. This is the quiet reality experts discuss. Only when cameras are off, banks are battling liquidity pressure, insurance companies are hiding insolvency risk, inflation is eating purchasing power far faster than official numbers admit, and the stock market is pumped with artificial buybacks that create the illusion of strength, even as major firms quietly pull out money behind the scenes. And in the middle of this silent storm, the group most vulnerable is retirees, people over 60, because you don't have the luxury of decades to recover, you don't have the benefit of aggressive high-risk growth, and you don't have time to wait for the next economic cycle to fix the damage. And that is why financial analysts repeat one message again and again: if you are over 60, your retirement could be at risk, and you must move your money before it is too late, because in today's economy, late movers are never rewarded, they are punished. And now you need to understand exactly where these threats come from, starting with the most dangerous one: inflation. Inflation is not just prices going up. Inflation is a silent termite that eats your savings from the inside. Every year your money loses power, even if the number in your account stays the same, and by the time people notice the real damage, their purchasing power has already collapsed. The second threat is the hidden instability. Inside banks, many major institutions fail stress tests, but these results are never shown to the public. And when a liquidity crunch hits, retirees become the easiest targets, because their funds sit in low-risk instruments that get frozen or devalued. The third risk comes from stock markets that appear strong on the surface, but are actually inflated by corporate buybacks, while real profits remain flat. And in an inflated market, a crash destroys retiree portfolios. First, because older investors cannot wait years for recovery, and then comes the threat. No one talks about the aging population, as more people cross 60. Governments around the world face massive pressure, and pension systems strain under the weight, which means relying only on government benefits has become an outdated and dangerous retirement plan. All these forces combined create a situation where, if you are over 60, your retirement is technically at risk, whether you notice it or not. And that is exactly why the smartest investors keep repeating the same strategy: reposition your money before the system shifts, because moving does not mean panicking. Moving means adjusting, diversifying, strengthening, and shifting your capital into places where safety and growth still exist. And in the next part, I will walk you step by step through the exact financial framework top wealth planners use for their 60-plus clients to protect their savings and secure long-term stability. Now that you understand where the risk is coming from, let me take you directly into the framework that top financial planners use for their high-value clients, especially those over 60, because this framework is the difference between a stable retirement and a dangerous one. And the first step inside this system is called capital repositioning, which simply means placing your money into separate buckets, where each bucket protects you from a different kind of threat, so that even if one area of the economy fails, your overall wealth stays stable and strong. The first bucket is the low volatility stable income bucket. This includes instruments that are designed to provide consistent returns with minimum movement even when the market crashes. These are things like inflation-protected bonds, treasury-backed assets, and high-grade conservative funds that barely shake during financial storms. The second bucket is the medium growth bucket, built to deliver better returns without exposing you to aggressive risk. Here you find dividend-paying stocks, defensive sector ETFs, and conservative equity positions that move slower and more safely than the broader market. The third bucket is the high stability, tangible asset bucket, where your money is placed into real-world assets that continue to hold value even when the economy is struggling. Things like real estate, farmland, energy-linked assets, and essential commodities. And this bucket is powerful because it has two qualities: real value and long-term protection. The fourth bucket is your emergency liquidity fund, the most ignored, yet the most critical, because when a medical emergency strikes, or when the market freezes, or when banks slow withdrawals. This is the money that saves you from stress and panic. And the fifth bucket is the strategic opportunities bucket, a small portion of capital placed where markets usually bounce back fastest after a crash, such as depressed sectors, bargain assets, or industries that historically lead recovery cycles. And this entire bucket system is not a random idea. It is the exact structure private wealth managers use, while the public is rarely given the full version of it. After these buckets, the next step is risk shielding, which means building invisible protection around your savings against threats you cannot see, like real inflation, value erosion, currency instability, and liquidity freezes. Risk shielding happens when you stop keeping all your money in one bank, one market, one currency, or one asset class, because each one has built-in vulnerabilities. And if your wealth sits in only one direction, the entire retirement collapses when that direction falls. The next step is income stabilization, a powerful strategy that most retirees never practice because they depend only on their savings instead of creating two separate income streams. The first is stable, low risk, consistent income that arrives every month, and the second is inflation-adjusted income that grows over time, so your lifestyle does not collapse under rising prices. This stability is what protects retirees from long-term financial exhaustion. Then comes wealth preservation, which is often misunderstood. Many people think preservation means low returns, but in reality, preservation means controlled growth, predictable safety, and minimized downside risk. Preservation only happens when you reposition your money before the system shifts, which is why experts say move your money before it is too late. This is not panic. This is timing. The next part of the framework is portfolio review every 6 months, because retirees often make the mistake of building a plan and then freezing it. Even though markets shift, economies change, inflation rises, and asset values behave differently, your plan must evolve with the world if you want your retirement to stay strong. And finally comes the retirement safety bubble, a complete ecosystem that covers your medical costs, your emergencies, your monthly income, and your protected capital, so that the next 20 to 30 years of your life remain financially stress-free. And now that you understand the structure, the next part will take you into the psychological traps that silently destroy retirements and that mindset shift needed to secure real freedom. Now that you understand the framework, it is time to uncover the psychological traps that quietly destroy the retirements of people over 60. Because even if you follow every financial rule, these mental traps can still wipe out years of stability. And the first trap is the comfort illusion, where retirees believe that after decades of work, they can finally relax and their money will manage itself. But money never manages itself. Money needs direction, and if you slip into comfort, the market uses that silence against you, because markets are always moving, always shifting, always changing, and comfort creates blind spots. The second trap is nostalgia. The belief that because you survived past recessions, crashes, inflation cycles, and economic turbulence, you will survive this one too. But the truth is, today's financial world is not the world you lived through in your younger years. Markets now move at algorithm speed. Banks now operate in digital liquidity risk. Inflation now behaves structurally, not temporarily, and global economies are more interconnected than ever, which means old experience does not guarantee future safety. The third psychological trap is delay mindset, where retirees tell themselves, let's wait a little longer, let's watch what happens, let's see how the market behaves. And this is the exact moment where portfolios get destroyed, because by the time the danger becomes visible, it is already too late, and retirees do not have the luxury of waiting for another long recovery cycle. The fourth trap is trust bias, where older investors place blind trust in advisors, bankers, or smooth-talking experts who sound confident but often operate on commission-based incentives that do not match your best interest. And this blind trust puts your entire savings under the control of someone whose priority may not be your financial survival. And then comes the fifth trap, denial, the silent destroyer. Retirees convince themselves that everything is fine, that things will eventually fix themselves, that no serious threat exists, and that their decisions have always worked in the past. But denial disconnects you from reality, and when the hit comes, it comes fast, and hits so hard that recovery becomes nearly impossible. And the truth is, retirement is not just a number or a bank balance. Retirement is a mindset. If you are mentally active, financially aware, and decisive, your retirement stays protected. If you are emotionally dependent, slow to react, or overly trusting your retirement becomes exposed to danger in today's economy. The only people who remain safe are those who actively move their money, reallocate their positions, diversify their holdings, and make timely decisions, because modern markets do not reward people who wait, they reward people who act. And this is why experts keep saying, if you are over 60, your retirement could be at risk. Move your money before it is too late, because too late means frozen accounts wiped out, valued delayed recovery, and emotional stress that affects not only your finances, but your health too. And now here is the final mindset shift. Every person over 60 must accept your money is not something you place and forget. Your money is a living system that needs movement, adjustment, and regular care. You must review your financial map every 6 months, even if life seems stable, because review is what protects you from future shocks. You must never keep your savings in one place, because single point failure is the biggest threat in a fragile economy. You must eliminate emotional decisions entirely, because fear and pride are two forces that destroy retirements faster than any market crash. And you must learn to embrace adaptability, because the economy of today is unpredictable, and only those who evolve stay safe. And finally, you must understand that your age is not your weakness. Your age is your superpower. You have lived through life. You have wisdom, experience, and perspective. But now your wisdom must merge with modern financial knowledge, so you not only survive retirement, you thrive in it. And if today you decide to protect your money, reposition it, and strengthen your financial future, then the next 20 years of your life can be peaceful, stable, and secure.